Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Getting Deep with Armchair Boogie.
How do you approach the songwriting process, and has it changed from your first two albums and EP through this one?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I can only totally answer for myself, you know. So me and Augie are the primary songwriters. So if you hear me singing on a song, it's something that I've written the lyrics for. I've written the general all the chord progressions of the verse and tried to find the melody. But that being said, I mean when I bring it to the table, just as far as when the band all gets involved, if I'm like, hey, I got this song, verse chorus, bridge chorus, there's always so much added in, little ideas, even down to like little stops or little synchronized riffs that everyone contributes. I've never written a drum part. I just show my drummer the song I wrote, and he figures out the right thing, which is wonderful, that they can build it like that. But earlier in the process, when I'm trying to get those lyrics, I'm trying to find the feel of a song, I've never been totally structured, or like very like I don't wake up every day and try and write for an hour. For me, it tends to be like, oh, a song, the best songs I write come after something significant has typically happened in life, and those feelings are fresh, and I sit down with my guitar, and sometimes I'm just strumming and I'm singing random words, and some or random sentences, and certain things stick, and then you start to build it from there. I've had other ones. It's rare that these ones come to surface, but I find that the ones that I take a lot of time to write, like if I come back to it and chip away at it here and there, sometimes that space isn't, for me, always very like healthy. It kind of leads to being like, oh, I've overthought this one for months, and it might not see the light of day. But that being said, there's a song on the new album coming out that I don't think will drop as a single, where a real good friend and kind of a muse for the band really pushed me to bring it to the band again. I actually brought it to the band, and we were like, yeah, it didn't really have the vibe. Second time I brought it through, months later, all of a sudden everything clicked. So sometimes sometimes those ones that are really a long process, can come along just fine. But I like, if I can, to try and get it within a day or two of it, of having the idea and feeling those emotions.
Well, do you feel like there are themes or any arc to your writing, to your
Uh,
lyrics?
That's something I would like to. I would say that I'd like to get better at it. It's a lot of kind of, for me. It's songs tend to be kind of singular stories about certain things that have happened. I have a song about getting a little too messed up in college, and some things that happened and then the wee hours of the night, or the early hours of the day. And then there's other ones that are heartbreaking, and getting screwed over, and so, but I have been, working. I have some songs I'm writing currently, trying to kind of get a little bit of like a theme thing going. I think it'd be fun to have a loosely themed album. But what I will say about Hard Times and Deadlines, our upcoming album, is that without the intention, Augie and I never sat down and tried to be like, this is what all the songs on this album are going to be about. Um, but now that we put it all together, we do find that there is kind of like I wouldn't say a storyline, but definitely like an arc to it. There's a narrative of hard times, and also like how kind of quick life can go by, and then everything that's happening in it, and sometimes feeling rushed to do all you can, but burning out, and so there's kind of a happy accident, that we did find that theme in this album.
There you go. Do you feel like the quarantine and COVID, um, I don't want to say helped, but um, encouraged more songwriting since you had to be off the road?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think for me, personally, for Augie for sure, I can say that for him. For me as well, like the funny part for me is I have a hard time if I sit down if I want to songwrite or if I want to like practice my guitar skills. And a lot of times I will say I end up just like playing guitar, and that's like one of the things where it's like I'm always driven to do that. And kind of like I brought up, if I'm hit with some sudden moment of inspiration, I'll sit down, and those are when the songs really, flow out. But COVID, I had a real nice routine of practicing like 5 hours a day. It really wasn't fun to be on the road, but or to not be on the road, but at the same time, I definitely used it to my advantage, to write and to even like make meals at home and exercise and stuff. And
Right.
a lot of that went out the door once tour kicked back in, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Right. How did the EP come about? Were you able to get together, or did you record your parts individually and just mix it?
I think it happened. It happened at a later point into the pandemic.
Okay.
And another thing to know is three of us were living together at the time,
Nice.
so
Okay.
it worked out pretty well. Even though we like did end up going to a studio, we knew the germs where they were coming from, and um, the idea kind of came almost as like a little bit of a almost as a little bit of a joke. I think we started writing like, well, Augie wrote a cowboy tune, and then I had like an old hobo song. We were like, well, that's enough to kind of fit together. Then we made an instrumental that has a lot of like, I don't know, kind of spaghetti western guitar tones and all that. And so we made a little kind of western EP is what that was, and fun project just to have something to show for our time off the road.
You need to get yourselves a pedal steel.
Right? I do. Augie does play pedal steel on one of the songs, but I'm not sure it's on the Western EP. But yeah, more of that in general for sure.
So the new album, or were the songs road tested beforehand?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been an important part of how we develop the tunes. We have learned by debuting them live and by playing them a handful of times. One, you really tighten it up, but you also find little nuances of arrangements that even if it's in like an improvised jam, like if we are doing like, hey, we know the structure of the song, but there's a jam section where no one knows where it's going to lead to, we stumble upon all sorts of little things, because we have real strong chemistry going in those moments on stage where we can trust each other and follow each other. Sometimes, one guy starts playing some kind of melodic riff and the rest of us sync up with them, and that those moments can be really memorable. And then you get off stage, you're like, let's make sure we do that next time, and then it'll make its way into the studio. So yeah, I think, it would be cool to be like, hey, check out this album of all new songs and we'll be playing them on the road. I think that's just as awesome, if not even more awesome. But for us, we've just found it's an important part of our solidifying of the songs we're playing, just playing them out. And I think a lot of people are then excited to hear the songs they've heard live in their studio format as well. It's a little
Right.
reverse, but it works for us.
So how much does the audience play into that when you bring a new tune? If you don't get the right reaction from an audience, is it, hey, let's take this back to the drawing board?
Well, I think first off, our fans or our community that surrounds us is very supportive and energetic. I think the only time you bump into times where you wish there's a greater reception might be in some like fresher markets where you're not as well known, and they're not as, like, they're
Right.
open to stuff, but they might not they might still be trying to get an idea of what you're about. But in general, we have, the at this point we've been touring nationally so heavily. We got a lot of great fans everywhere, and so it's always exciting more than anything to release a new tune. And most anyone in the crowd's pumped if you're like, "Hey, this is a new song." And we wouldn't be showing it to them if we didn't have some level of confidence that it could, be a banger or something.
Right. You have all these traditions and genres that you've built on, mostly the bluegrass thing. How do you approach the challenge of keeping the music fresh and innovative while respecting those traditions?
Yeah, it's a great question. Luckily, with our lineup, because we have the banjo and the acoustic guitar, a lot of bluegrass stuff just makes sense. And we do have, fast driving drums and electric bass. So we can do that. I brought up kind of the leftover salmon element, but you can do that really fast paced stuff and it works. Everyone can keep up with it. Our drummer's a monster. You can do that double time train beat real quick. But then at the same time, if we want to do something country, our instruments do a great sound of blending all those elements as well. And even rock and roll, it's like I have a distortion pedal I use, slam on a little bit of the overdrive, and banjo has plenty of effects. But via, the instrumentation and all the effects we have, we're able to kind of span across all these genres. And as far as, keeping it fresh, I guess you just kind of take pages out of the books of the greats. You try and find those covers that are not too obvious, but slightly like deep cuts that are unique. Try not to just play what everyone else is playing. Find some unique covers that you can make your own. Maybe keep into rotation. We've seen Fish do. We've seen Infamous String Dusters do. We've seen people keep those songs in their catalog because they found that they really can have their own voice in it while covering it as well. So we're always just seeking to add in new songs and even new jam segments and stuff. We don't try and follow some strict pattern of, oh, we're entering this improv jam, we know he's going to do this riff and we know he's going to do that riff. We might have a couple of those things, but even then, it's always a goal to keep listening to each other and challenging each other. I want to give the guys something they don't expect if I'm going into a solo. Sometimes that's like a primary goal of mine, because they could react in a way that makes it pretty epic, and none of us would have expected after that. So but it's important these days, right? Everyone's looking at the set list and everyone's like, posting about what they're seeing you play, and so it's important to keep those fresh songs in, or bringing ones out from the deep depths of the, 3 years ago we haven't busted it out or whatever.
All right. Who writes the set list?
Our bass player mostly does it. I think you realize years into it that there is very much a thing of too many cooks in the kitchen. And so it's, at least for us, we realize it's like, well, our bass player has a great idea of, he'll reference, what we played there last time, and we don't repeat if we're playing 2 days or 3 days at a festival, and it's so nice to have someone have all those considerations in mind and present something, and hey, what do you guys think of this? I'm sure we might change a song or two up, but Eli is definitely the primary guy with that.
Very nice. So do you feel like certain songs live certain places in sets? Like you have certain openers, things like that? Or is any song going to jump anywhere?
Oh, that's it. I think the most solid ones, as far as like where their location is, I think the openers is something for us that's like, we have we try and change it up a lot, but a lot of songs just make sense to kick it off, or a lot of places we're playing, 9 times out of 10 we want to just like start with fireworks, you know what I mean? And just try and like get everyone amped up. Then we might do something to keep the energy up but not be as like in your face, and we might work our way down, because we do have a wide variety of the big energetic tunes, but also the heartfelt slower ones too that are just as powerful, but you can't be too dynamic from song to song. We all believe in that flow of the set list. Even the audience is looking for it. But yeah, no, it's definitely like the beginners and the enders are a lot of times the ones that we find end up there more often than not. And the middle can be kind of, things can go anywhere.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.